Long, long ago, in a peaceful mountain village in Japan, there lived a young boy named Netaro. The village was surrounded by beautiful forests and fields, but life was not always easy. Netaro was gentle and kind, but he was known for one very unusual thing. Every day, while the villagers worked hard in the fields, Netaro stayed inside his small wooden house and slept. Morning, afternoon, and evening, he seemed to do nothing but rest peacefully. The villagers began calling him the boy who only sleeps. Days became weeks, and weeks became months. Still, Netaro continued sleeping quietly. Some villagers shook their heads and wondered why he never worked. "He is wasting his life," they whispered. But Netaro remained calm and peaceful. Seasons passed one after another. Cherry blossoms bloomed in spring. Green leaves covered the mountains in summer, and snow gently fell in winter. Before anyone realized it, 3 long years had gone by. Netaro had slept through them all. The villagers could not understand him. "How can someone sleep for 3 whole years?" they asked. But deep inside, Netaro was not simply being lazy. While lying quietly, he had been listening, watching and thinking about the village every day. During those years, the village faced a serious problem. The rice fields became dry because there was not enough water. The villagers worked from sunrise to sunset, but their crops struggled to grow. Everyone worried about the future of their home. From inside his house, Netaro heard the villagers' troubles. He listened to their worries about the dry fields and the disappearing water. Although his eyes were closed, his mind was always awake. He wanted to find a way to help everyone. One morning, after 3 years of sleeping, something surprising happened. Netaro slowly opened his eyes. He stretched his arms, looked outside, and smiled gently. "I finally know how to save our village," he whispered. The news spread quickly. "Netaro has finally awakened." The villagers gathered around his house in surprise. Some were curious, while others still wondered what a boy who slept for 3 years could possibly do. Netaro walked outside and looked toward the distant mountains. "There is plenty of water beyond those hills," he explained. "If we create a path for the water to flow, our fields can become green again." The villagers listened carefully. At first, some villagers were unsure. "Building a water path from the mountains sounds impossible," they said. But Netaro calmly explained the plan he had thought about for 3 years. Little by little, the villagers began to understand his idea. Netaro showed everyone the path he had carefully imagined. The water would travel from the mountain stream through the forest and all the way down to the dry rice fields. The villagers were amazed by his careful thinking. The next morning, Netaro picked up his tools and began working. The villagers watched in surprise. The boy they believed was always sleeping was now working harder than anyone. Soon, many people joined him. Together, Netaro and the villagers dug through the earth. They moved stones, cleared branches, and created a long water channel. It was difficult work, but everyone encouraged one another with hopeful smiles. Days passed as they continued working together. Under the bright sun and gentle moonlight, the villagers slowly brought Netaro's idea to life. For the first time in many years, everyone felt hope returning. Finally, the water channel was complete. Everyone gathered quietly and waited. Netaro opened the path to the mountain stream. For a moment, nothing happened. The villagers held their breath. Then a small sound echoed through the valley. Fresh, clear water began flowing down from the mountains. The stream grew stronger and traveled through the new channel toward the village. Everyone watched with wide eyes. The water finally reached the dry rice fields. The thirsty earth slowly became rich and healthy again. The villagers cheered with happiness. "Our fields are saved," they cried. Netaro smiled quietly as he watched. The villagers gathered around Netaro. "We thought you were only sleeping," they said. "We never knew you were thinking about how to help us all this time." They thanked him deeply for his wisdom and kindness. Netaro smiled and shook his head. "I could not have done this alone," he said. "My idea only became real because everyone worked together." The villagers realized that every person has their own special way of helping. As time passed, the village changed. The rice fields became green and beautiful again. Fresh water flowed through the land, bringing life back to plants, animals, and people. The village became peaceful and full of joy. People from nearby villages came to hear Netaro's story. They were surprised to learn that the boy who slept for 3 years had saved an entire village. His unusual story traveled far and wide. Children often asked Netaro, "Were you really sleeping for 3 whole years?" Netaro laughed gently and answered, "Sometimes quiet moments help us discover important ideas." The children listened with bright, curious eyes. The villagers never called Netaro lazy again. Instead, they remembered him as a thoughtful young man who saw what others could not see. They learned never to judge someone only by appearances. Years later, the village continued to grow. Every spring, beautiful rice fields shined under the warm sun. Whenever people saw the flowing water, they remembered Netaro's kindness. The villagers celebrated the story of Netaro for many generations. Parents told their children about the quiet boy who changed their village with patience, kindness, and wisdom. His story was never forgotten. The end.